Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a gaming news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. This week's topics include Diablo 4's pre-purchase leaks, the GTA 6 leaker breaching bail after being arrested, Google Stadia shutting down, and more. As always, discussion timestamps can be found in the description below, but right before you skip ahead, just a quick reminder to ring that sub notification bell to be alerted to new Saturday episodes and stay up to date with gaming news highlights. But before we move on, just a quick word from this video's sponsor, Keeps, which is all about keeping your hair. About 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they reach 35. Some men lean into that shaved head look, but some enjoy having and styling hair and want to know if they have any options. There's no magic cure for baldness, but there are preventative steps to stop it from progressing and keep the hair you have. Keeps is a subscription service that focuses on making it easier and more affordable for men to treat their male pattern baldness, all from the comfort of their home, using clinically proven, research-backed treatments at about half the cost of a traditional pharmacy. Physicians at Keeps will help pick the right treatment plan for you, and every treatment plan comes with a full year of unlimited messaging, so you can contact your prescribing doctor at any time. And then it's as simple as subscribing and having everything you need delivered right to your door with refill reminders sent to ensure you don't run out of what you need. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/Rhykker or click the link in the description. That's keeps.com/RHYKKER. Starting with a quick follow-up story from last week, Hearthstone's game director, who left last week, has become the design director for League of Legends. It's not clear why he had that little stint where he showed himself as unemployed on Twitter. I highly doubt he got this job in just a few days. He probably had it lined up already, so maybe he was just having a bit of fun. In another follow-up to last week's story about the teenage GTA 6 leaker getting arrested, well, now he has pled not guilty to the charge of computer misuse. Man, is that what they're charging him with? Social engineering his way into their private files and then trying to extort money out of them under the threat of releasing their source code is just computer misuse? Geez, and here I thought computer misuse was running Internet Explorer. The kid has pled guilty to one thing though, breaching his bail conditions. So now he's been put in a youth detention center, and it's unclear what exactly he did to breach his bail conditions, but it's probably playing a game of League of Legends. Now, one of the things that came out of the leak was the supposed budget that publisher Take-Two has put aside for GTA 6. And that budget? $2 billion. Now, if this is true, that would make GTA 6 the most expensive video game ever made. And this would include the years of development costs since as early as 2014, the publishing and distribution costs, the marketing budget, which will likely be at minimum 50% of the total budget and possibly as much as 80%, and also years of post-launch content. In other news, a Kickstarter launched for a game called Mandragora, which is looking pretty cool. It's a dark fantasy 2.5D side-scroller action RPG with Souls-like and Metroidvania elements. After only a couple days, it's already fully funded, currently sitting at $123,000 pledged out of a $110,000 goal, with the Kickstarter campaign ending on October 25th. The game is set to release on PC and consoles in the second half of 2023. In some Big Brother news, Overwatch 2 will be recording your voice chat. Or it can be. As part of its Defense Matrix initiative of combating cheating and disruptive players, players will now need, first off, to register a phone number to their Battle.net account and consent to having their in-game voice chat possibly recorded. By having a phone number attached to a Battle.net account, this makes it difficult for banned players to come back to the game, since you'd need to authenticate with a new phone number. As for the voice recordings, well, if a player is reported as being disruptive, then Blizzard will get to analyze a transcript of the voice chat recording to verify this. I don't envy that intern's job. Given most people who play with their friends are likely using Discord for voice chat anyway, this likely isn't the invasion of privacy it initially seems to be, but still there's just something that feels a little unsettling about the idea of being recorded at any point. In other news, Skull and Bones, Ubisoft's upcoming action-adventure naval pirate game, has been delayed again. Skull and Bones was first revealed in 2017 with a 2018 release date. It was then delayed to 2019, then to 2020, then to 2021, then most recently to November 8th, 2022, and now to March 9th, 2023. But this one's for real, guys. Surely it won't be delayed again. There will be an open beta for the game in the near future, assuming no delays on that. We also got this week the reveal trailer for Wild Hearts, which basically looks like Monster Hunter Feudal Japan, and it's looking really good. It's being developed by Omega Force, the Japanese studio behind the Dynasty Warriors franchise, in partnership with EA Originals, who will largely just handle the publishing. It's going to release February 19th, 2023. In some Google Stadia news, in a move that absolutely no one saw coming, Google has announced that it will be shutting down Stadia. On January 18th, Google's game streaming service will become just another logo in the Google graveyard. Thankfully, though, Google is refunding all Stadia purchases to all customers, including hardware, software, and DLC, so good on Google for that. Someone asked, if the Stadia device is discontinued, do we know what, if anything, will happen with game purchases? And he basically gave a non-answer. And that's what's concerning, because Google has a history of discontinuing products and services. It experiments a lot, and sometimes after years, it'll decide this is no longer worth pursuing, and it shuts down the project. Google's history is littered with these projects. So there really is no guarantee that Stadia will still be around in 5 or 10 years. So what then happens to the games that you have purchased? Will you get refunded for them? Will you be given some way of permanently downloading them or otherwise acquiring them without DRM? And Google not being able to provide any concrete assurances in this regard is not encouraging. Now, the reason Google cited for shutting down Stadia was, quote, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. The saddest thing is that this seemed to come as a surprise to the Stadia team, who just hours before were talking about rolling out UI updates. Now, I do believe still that cloud gaming is the future of gaming. I believe that in the future, we will stream games direct to our living rooms or to our computers across multiple devices, anything with a monitor, all while it's being rendered on a supercomputer at max bleeding edge graphics. I mean, if GPU prices keep rising the way they are and Moore's Law really is dead, as we discussed in last week's video, then a larger and larger portion of the PC gaming audience will be priced out of running top-of-the-line gear. And streaming will be an affordable way to experience a game in its full glory. However, before we arrive at that future, high-speed, reliable, low-latency internet needs to become ubiquitous, and we are not there yet. Once the majority of gamers can experience a streamed game without noticing significantly more lag or connection issues than a non-streamed game, then we'll be there. Now, speaking of video cards, Intel this week announced the Arc A770 GPU, priced at only $329, which is a far cry from what NVIDIA's latest cards are priced at, as we spoke about in last week's video. Intel claims that their GPU offers up to 65% better peak performance in ray tracing versus competing products. But honestly, at this point, even if their cards can't compete with NVIDIA's latest and greatest, the price point Intel is coming in at makes it such an inviting option, even for a mid-range card. This card will launch on October 12th. In related news, NVIDIA has been doing more than just announcing super expensive video cards. They've revealed some insane technology called RTX Remix, which allows modders to create their own RTX remasters of old games. Last week we spoke about the Portal RTX remaster, but NVIDIA is putting this technology into the hands of, well, anyone. And they demoed how it works in Morrowind. Not only does it add ray tracing, creating realistic modern lighting and shadows, but there's also AI technology that will upscale low-res textures, as well as detect what kind of material a texture is, and apply physical-based rendering so that it reacts more realistically to light. Plus, you can modify in-game assets while seeing the results live in the game, and this is just to name a few of the things that RTX Remix does. This really is a game changer for the modding community. AI technology is so impressive, and it's just a part of the RTX Remaster toolkit. And speaking of Elder Scrolls, the Skyrim Anniversary Edition is now available on GOG.com, which means it's DRM free. This means that the game is forever yours. No one can take it away from you. There's no authentication servers that can go down and then you're out of luck, etc. In some quick gaming related news, the Last of Us HBO series got a teaser trailer this week, and I didn't realize Pedro Pascal was in this. I love him as an actor, and this series is looking like it won't be just another zombie show. It seems like it may capture the heart and emotion that made the video game great. And speaking of series, Netflix, after having produced a number of video game series, is now looking to open a new video game studio in Helsinki, Finland. They say this is a step towards Netflix's vision of building a, quote, world-class game studio that will bring a variety of delightful and deeply engaging original games with no ads and no in-app purchases. Hey, that sounds fantastic to me. Let's hope they deliver. In some Terraria news, the Labor of Love update is now released, and it's more than just a quality of life update to the 11-year-old game. There are new items as well as an entirely new game mode, Don't Dig Up, which has you start down in the underworld and slowly build your way to the surface, rather than the other way around. This mode, of course, rebalances the difficulty, with greater challenges now faced towards the surface, and it also introduces new underworld flora to help provide you with some early game resources. Then, in a mixture of Diablo 4 and World of Warcraft news, we got the Dragonflight date announced trailer, revealing that WoW's latest expansion releases on November 28th. Just like the leak from a few weeks ago said. The leak said October 25th for the pre-patch, and it also said that we'd have the Diablo 4 pre-purchase reveal on December 8th. This leak was already very credible, and this all but confirms that we'll get those pre-purchase details on December 8th. Now, the upcoming WoW patch, currently in beta, makes significant changes to Resurrection. On live servers, when you resurrect, your gear takes 25% durability damage, and you have Resurrection Sickness for 10 minutes. But in beta, your gear takes 50% damage, that's double, but Resurrection Sickness lasts only 1 minute. That's a huge change. As for the Diablo 4 pre-purchase, Wowhead is reporting on a leaked Blizzard survey polling players about possible bundle options for Diablo 4. Possible options in the survey included early access, special cosmetic wings, mount cosmetics, cosmetic hero skins, a free battle pass, and even a free copy of Diablo 3 and Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, we should clarify, Blizzard was polling potential customers, asking which of these options would be most appealing for a Diablo 4 bundle, likely a collector's edition or maybe a pre-purchase, especially in the context of early access. This does not mean Blizzard is adding all these things, and sometimes some poll options are just there to collect data rather than real considerations by Blizzard. And we'll end things off here on some lighthearted news. Carbot has released a new episode of his Diablo 2 series, which is actually a strategy guide on how to properly play a barbarian. And that's gonna wrap up this week's video. But do be sure to have checked out last week's video, in which we discussed a possible hint that Blizzard has given us about Diablo 4's release date. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you saw on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can consider pledging on YouTube or Patreon and unlocking behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. Check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more gaming content.